We are now recording. Thank you, Heather, for that. My fellow CB9 members helping me out here. Hi, Annette.
Hey. Hi, Madison.
Hi, darling. So we've got Barry's on the other side here. He should be here. Annette, Ilana, me, Barry. That's 4. So we're just 1 shy now. And Patricia's coming, so that'll make 5. Okay, we're going to be ready in like 2 minutes. So I'll call again if there's anyone that has agenda items. Otherwise, if everything's covered, I've added a few small things since I sent it out before. Otherwise, did committee members have a chance to look at Clayton's wonderful minutes from last time? And were there any friendly amendments or corrections that you could see? We can put them officially in a moment, but if there's anything, I'll put them up on the screen if we want, real quick. Everyone else on the line, please hold with us as we do a little bit of business. Appreciate you. Minutes. These are our minutes from last time. If folks had a chance to look at them ahead, let us know if you saw anything. I know it's going fast, everyone, but this is just points of business during the meeting we have to really quickly take a look at. And these minutes, hopefully, will get put up onto the CB9 website. That's the idea.
I think they were.
Huh?
I think they are.
They are there? Excellent. Everybody, you can look at the CB9 website under the Housing Committee and find our minutes. Yes. This is what happens when you have a full staff in the office, right, Victor?
That's right.
That's right. Love ya. All right. Okay. Put that agenda back up. Okay. Next point on the agenda introductions, presentations. I would like to go around and just make quick introductions of our committee members and our CB9 members. Make sure you know who we are in the room here as far as the community board goes. And then we will move on to announcements and new business. All right, so hey everyone, I'm Signy Mortensen. I have been living on 150th Street for about 13 years now. I've been in the city 15, I want to say. I've been on community board 9. I think I'm going into 10 years now. I think it's 10 years, going into my 10th year or 11th year now. I've been on the housing committee about 8 of those, I want to say. We are here to be the voice of you, the community, and so we want to hear your voices in the process. We are here to relay those to our elected officials. We make resolutions, we make letters of support and things like this when it comes to housing, land use, and zoning. That is me, and I'll go to Ilana next.
Hi, Ilana Mercado. I'm originally from the Bronx. I've been living in Harlem since 2006. I think I've been on the board since 2017. I can't remember anymore.
That's okay.
I live in a HPD affordable co-op.
Excellent. Thank you, Ilana. Annette?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'm Annette Robinson. I've been on the board for the past 13 years, and I am a long-standing resident of this community. We're not supposed to tell our age, so I'll leave that there.
Very good. Barry's in the other room. Clayton, you are a community board member, so you get to go as well. I don't think any of my other committee members are on the line, so I'm gonna let you introduce yourself since you're in the room.
I'm Clayton, new community board member, also Columbia PhD student and student worker. I've been here for 4 years. Very excited about housing issues, and I live in student housing on 125th.
125th, excellent. So we'll go to other CB9 members right now that I see on the line, including our chair, Victor Edwards. Vic, just introduce yourself for us. Maybe he's in other meetings too. Well, while we wait for Vic, Heather, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Heather, co-chair of Landmarks and Parks Committee with Annette. Hi, Annette.
I forgot to mention that, Heather. Forgive me. Yes, I'm a new co-chair with Heather.
And I've been in the community for a while, about 28 years or so, 27, 28 years. And I live in Sugar Hill. Thanks.
Oh, great.
Thank you, Heather. So, hi, Patricia. You've made us quorum. Thank you.
Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
My presentation next door.
You did a good job, I bet. So we officially have quorum now. I'm just going to take a quick pause, and we can officially call to order. Can I get a call to order? And can I get a second? Okay, so wait, Annette, do first and second. I'll second.
Is Juan on the Zoom?
I do not see Juan.
Oh.
And very good. So Patricia, one of our newest members, we're just introducing ourselves. If you want to say hey real quick, and tell us who you are.
I'm Patricia Ramos, and I've been a community board member since last year, so very new at this. I'm very much involved with health and environmental, and I like that committee. And yeah, so I'm glad to finally make it. Sorry, I got a little lost. I don't know what happened to Google Maps.
You're good.
But I made it.
Victor, are you able to say hello as a community board chair?
Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yes, good evening all. My name is Victor Edwards. I'm a recently appointed chair of CB9. I've been in the community for a little over 40 years and been on the board for 10, serving as first and second vice chair prior to being chair. Good evening all. Thank you, Sydney.
Thank you, Vic. We'll let Barry introduce himself when he comes back in. Sounds like Juan is on his way. Do we have any other community board members? Maybe some folks I'm not. Who else is on there? Shoot, she already said no. Oh, sorry. Hi. Any other community board members on the line? I think we're good. I want to welcome Police Officer Stuber from the New York Police Department 30th Precinct. Thanks for joining us. And I see Mark Ergang, he's a regular. Thank you. Pamela from WEACT is here. We have a couple of Assemblyman Al Taylor I see on the line, his office. Barry is back and he is going to say hello now.
Hi. My name is Barry Weinberg. I am a member of this committee for 10 years, and I'm the first vice chair, as well as the chair of the Strategic Planning Committee, which deals with both the Community Benefits Agreement about Manhattanville campus, and now also some of our budget work.
Yeah. So we have officially now called to order. That was, forgot to put the time in. I'm sure Clayton got it. And then officially adopt the agenda unless there are any friendly amendments. Take a look at the agenda on the screen. And I'd like to officially adopt the agenda if I can get a call to adopt the agenda. And a second. Ilana, Annette 1, Ilana 2. Did anyone else get to look at minutes? We can officially bring those into adoption as well.
I move that we adopt the minutes so masterfully prepared by Clayton.
Mr. Clayton Sanford, yes, thank you. And they're already up on our website, I hear, so people can already go and look at our September minutes.
Clayton's gonna be a hot commodity. You're gonna have to hold on to him.
I know. I'm. Where's Victor? I'm plotting, Victor.
I heard you, Sydney.
He's already doing the work, you know. All right. Very good. So that takes wonderful. That takes us up to point 4. So introductions, we already did that. I don't have any official presentations other than we're going to have a discussion with Neil from 133rd there, but I do want to make a quick announcement with Pamela. While she's on the line here, I can just give a shout out. We had a wonderful weekend of Team Up to Clean Up despite the weather on Saturday, we had to quickly make an adjustment and change the date to Sunday. Might have affected a few members that were going to come and clean, but I think overall, the initial numbers that are just a guesstimate at this point is 150 that came out to clean our treasure, West Harlem and parts of Central Harlem. So congratulations to all that came out. We thank you. Pamela, as one of the co-sponsors, how did you feel? And you know, just maybe a few words from you. I'm very proud of the work we've done in the last 4 years. So.
Yeah, it was a great event. I was surprised at how many new people showed up to participate, which was great. And then even some folks asking us if we're going to do it again. If you could believe it, Sydney, people called me on Monday,
Oh, yeah?
understanding that they missed it on Sunday and wanted to
Yes.
know how they could get involved next time.
So, that said, I'm still getting registrations through our form, even though it's over. And I believe we're going to have another second chance opportunity for people to pick some of the leftover supplies next Saturday at your membership meeting. So our registration form is still open. It's now meant to be for groups to pick up supplies and do their own cleanups. And so you can still go to our registration page and sign up and come pick some supplies up on Saturday, I believe, from 10 to 12, right?
Absolutely. So the membership meeting starts at 10 o'clock and it is going to be at New Heights New Heights Academy Charter School.
Yeah, it's on 150th and Broadway in Amsterdam.
Absolutely, yes. So we look forward to seeing everyone there. And also a special guest speaker is going to be attending. RDA Alvin Braggs is going to be speaking. And we also have the controller's office speaking to us about a new dashboard that they have out. So it's going to be a great event.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so look forward to seeing you all there.
I'm going to put the address in there, and then the Team Up to Clean Up registration. I'll put that in here too, in case you want to take advantage of the extra supplies we have and sign up. There it is. All of that is in the chat now. All right. Any other quick announcements people might have that we are not aware of? Important housing things that you might have coming up. I know Sugar Hill is having their tenants' rights meeting tonight. Hayel, are you on the line? I think it's happening at the same time. We might be in 2 meetings. Very good. Okay, so moving along, where's Juan? Hi, welcome. You made it.
Thank you.
And so let's move on to new business. I do have Neil here with us. I do want Neil to introduce himself. So I was actually just made aware of this. I hadn't seen the letter before a couple days ago, but the auto body shop, it's actually just across the street from us, is looking for a renewal of a variance for their spot. We did dig up the reso from over 10 years ago now to see what that had said. And I think there was a few questions and just some discussion that we wanted to have with you guys. So Neil, if you can just explain what the ask is from CB9 so that we understand what you need from us as far as this goes.
Okay, hi everyone. Can I share the screen? I have a PowerPoint.
Yep, let me take my share off. And I think I've made it so you can share screen.
All right, everyone, see that?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Let me just... All right, still there, right?
Yep.
All right, thanks for the introduction. My name is Neil Weisbart. I'm from the law firm of Seyfarth Shaw, and I represent Prestige Automotive, who is seeking a renewal of a variance with the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals. The site is located at 547 through 551 West 133rd Street. And as you mentioned, it's just to the east of where you are right now. It's located on the north side of West 133rd Street between Amsterdam and Broadway. It's a 7,500 square foot interior lot. The site is located in two zoning districts. It's split between two zoning districts. The western 25 feet of the site is located within a C6-1 commercial district within sub-district A of the Special Manhattanville Mixed-Use District. And just so the board understands, a automotive establishment, which is a use group 16, is permitted in sub-district A of the Special Manhattanville Mixed-Use District. The remaining portion of the site is located in an R7A residence district, and it's located outside of the Special Manhattan Mixed-Use District, and an automotive repair shop and auto body shop is not permitted on that portion of the site. So that is the reason for the variance. Here's a photograph of the building. You may all know it or walk past it. It's a two-story, approximately 15,250 square foot building. The ground floor is utilized by Prestige Automotive Corp. as a use group 16 automobile repair shop. The second floor is a repair shop with welding, body, and fender work operated by Auto Body Pro Solutions Corp. The hours of operation for Prestige is from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. For the Auto Body Pro Solutions shop, hours are 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays, and both establishments are closed on Sundays. The approvals sought from the Board of Standards and Appeals are an amendment to the term of the variance, which expired on June 27, 2019. I'll go through the history in a moment. And the application also seeks a waiver for an extension of time to obtain a certificate of occupancy. Under the 2009 resolution, the BSA required that a CO be obtained by March 22nd, 2010. However, the CO was not obtained till November 8th, 2012, and therefore there is a waiver that's required. But there is a certificate of occupancy on the site permitting the uses. This auto body shop has been in existence for almost 70 years. Originally in 1926, the BSA permitted a two-story garage for more than 5 vehicles. In 1953, the BSA granted a use district exception to permit the addition of motor vehicle repairs, paint spraying, and welding on the second floor for a term of 5 years. In 1989, after there was the original BSA variance wasn't renewed, a new application was filed under BSA calendar number 416-87BZ, which is the calendar number currently, and the BSA approved the uses on the site to be continued. In 2009, the BSA reopened and extended the term of the variance for another 10 years, which expired on June 27, 2019. So that's the reason for the application, it was to renew the BSA grant, and as I mentioned, also to clarify when the CO was issued. The owner seeks a similar extension as it did in 2009 for a term of 10 years. We believe the extension is appropriate. The site is operated in a lawful manner and in accordance with the terms of the board's previous grants. There's been no changes to the plans or the uses on the site. The existing automotive uses have no negative impact on the character in the neighborhood. In fact, we believe that the use has been an asset to the community. Prestige Automotive services the vehicles for the Office of New York State of Mental Retardation, HPD, City College, Yeshiva, and Columbia, as well as local contractors, electricians, and plumbers. All operations occur completely within the enclosed building, and as I mentioned, there'll be no changes being made to the structure as part of this application. And that's my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
So we'll take questions. You can either do the raise hand feature in reactions if you're on Zoom. If you're in the room, you can raise your hand directly. I do have a reso from 2009. Do we want to take a look at that at all?
I actually have some questions for Mr. Weisbart.
Sure, so we'll start with Barry. If you have any questions online, just use that reactions button with your raise hand feature. Barry.
Sydney, are you able to pull up the Google Drive folder I shared with you?
Yes.
Can you share that on the screen? I think that'd be helpful.
Yep, give me 1 second.
So I think that it's really fantastic that these businesses are operating in our neighborhood. You know, they're small businesses. They are helpful to folks who own vehicles in the neighborhood. And, you know, they provide, I suspect, like good, well, you just had.
Yep.
If you just click on it, it should run like a slideshow. But the problem is that, so that building sits at the end of Old Broadway, which is what this picture shows, looking north to the auto body shop at the very end of the street on 133rd. And this is at where Old Broadway emerges from a pedestrian path to be once again like an actual road adjacent to the Manhattanville housing complex. And so if we can just kind of scroll through this, we can see that unfortunately, it's not actually contained solely within the building. And I don't think it's actually lawful either, in that the auto body shop parks an enormous number of cars, and you'll notice that this white one right here does not have a license plate. So parked cars without license plates are not permitted on the streets. And so you'll see that clearly many of them are there for body work. You can tell by, or are being scrapped if they're not repairable. You can tell by the lack of license plates and the large amount of damage. I don't know if we can zoom in with this, but you can see the blue car there is significantly smashed up. And you'll notice that it gets to the point where if we zoom out and kind of go to the right on this image.
Trying to zoom out.
Use an arrow key to go boom. But you wind up with a lot of double parked cars also, and cars that are parked on the sidewalk, sometimes double parked on the sidewalk, which is not permitted. And so you'll see you have these cars that are double parked that are either presumably awaiting repairs or have been repaired and waiting to pick them up. Again, many of them don't have license plates. And so I think that were the establishment operating in a lawful manner that didn't do this, I would like vote for this in a heartbeat for another BSA extension of the use group waiver. But I think that, and I walk this path and through Manhattanville houses multiple times a week over the past 13 years. And it's gotten significantly worse within the past 2 or 3 years. And I think this is a really opportune action for us because it allows us to have this conversation. So I would really appreciate it if your clients were able to make some sort of commitment about, I don't know if it's reducing the amount of business that they take or committing to remove the cars in a much more expedient manner and timeline, but those are some of the concerns I have with the continued operation of the establishment as they currently operate.
I see one more question from Mark Ergang. We'll let you, Neil, respond.
I can respond now or wait?
You can respond now, and then Mark, you'll go after.
Okay.
So I will definitely relay this to ownership. I was unaware of this. I will explain your concerns. One thing I can recommend is that if you, other than this issue, if you feel as though this will be a favorable recommendation, is that you note that the favorable recommendation is based on the operators removing the vehicles from the sidewalk and from the adjacent streets. And then the BSA will be on notice, and then the BSA will also relay that at the public hearing. And I'll try to get a letter from ownership, which I don't think would be a problem. And just to reiterate their commitment to do what you're requesting.
So I assume we're on deadlines here. What are the deadlines currently?
We have not been given a hearing date from the Board of Standards and Appeals yet. So we're at least a month away, if not longer.
Okay, so it is not emergency to do it tonight. We could actually dialogue with the business.
We could add it, we could draft something for this month and then talk with them and
yeah, we'll draft this month then and we'll chat. Yeah, that sounds good, but it's not an emergency situation, so we can hold. Okay, thank you, Neil. Let's get Mark's question in.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, seeing trends in this neighborhood and given the extreme need for affordable and other housing, and the fact that this lot has at least a partial residential zoning, wouldn't you think it would be more of a win-win for the community, for people who are seeking affordable housing, and the owner also of the property? Wouldn't it be a win for everyone if they instead of trying to continue this use to BSA action, to try to get the residential portion extended across the entire lot?
So I can't speak to the ownership of the lot. The lot is owned by Columbia. I represent Prestige Auto, and they're coming before you to continue to operate their business. So what I can recommend is that you reach out to Columbia and suggest that. And I'm not sure the terms of their lease, but presumably Columbia would have to abide by that lease. And I can't speak for Columbia. I represent the operators of the business and can't ask them to shut down to provide affordable housing. I'm not in a position to do that.
Understood.
What's the address again?
What is it? What's the address? 547?
Yeah.
547?
Yeah, 547.
547 through 551, West 133rd Street.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is actually slated to be demolished at some point. I forget the year. We've talked to them about actually carving a little piece of it off for a community garden.
There's been talks.
So
what's happening?
But I think it's slated to be used for faculty and student housing, Mark. I'll have to check.
It's a Columbia, yeah.
Yeah, but we know they own this and we've talked to them about it for other reasons.
Got it.
Thank you.
I see another question in the room from Juan. Hi, Juan.
I've used them because I've had 2 cars in my history in Harlem, and they have been very honest and hardworking with me every time I dealt with them. And they tell you the truth. So I want to say that about their service. In addition to that, when I tried to find a mechanic, I couldn't find anything all the way to the Bronx. So their business was important to me, and I bet for a lot of residents in Harlem, because we don't have access to shops like these unless you go all the way up into Washington Heights or even Inwood. So that's one bit. The second thing is how terrifying it is to hear yet one more project in a massively dense area, you know. I live on Convent and 149th, and the amount of projects that are happening, the double parking, the streets, the chaos, you can't even drive a car straight most of the days on Convent. It's scary, but that is not what this is about. I just wanted to tell how important it was for me to find that mechanic shop.
Okay, thank you, Juan. Ilana and then Barry.
I have a question for, so that whole lot is slated for?
From Broadway back, so I'll tell you. It is site 5D in the Columbia Manhattanville plan. Existing commercial uses and building to be demolished, new residential development, 125 residential units, 19,600 square feet of retail, 19,600 square feet of community facility, and 100 parking spaces.
And any affordable housing in the mix? In there?
Well, Columbia will claim that housing for their people is affordable to their
Right,
people,
I
and
Yes.
yeah.
So that's where that's
We've
falling.
been there.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look at any corner, it's very likely Columbia owns, including this building that we're sitting in right now.
I don't actually know that. We should talk, we should ask
Yeah.
Prestige also if they're gonna be.
I see another comment about the business itself and that they are important to the people around here, so it's something to ask if Columbia has a plan for them to relocate.
Yeah, no, there's a different business on 134th. Actually, Mr. Weisbart, does Prestige have any entrance or exit on 134th?
I don't believe so. I think it's just an interior lot.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but I do not believe so.
Yeah, there's another business on 134th that is horrendous, and not a good neighbor. So I've you know.
I know the building, their use does not extend to 134th.
Well,
the standalone building that stops mid-block.
Yeah, the ones I'm talking about are in the Manhattanville area, so they use group 16 as allowed. But so no, I've talked to them before. They're really lovely, nice people, but they just need to keep their clients' cars off the sidewalks and double parked.
We appreciate it. We could definitely get a dialogue with them about that. Are there any other? Yes, thank you. Thank you. Are there any other questions for Mr. Weisbard? Okay. Very good. Thank you. We're going to draft something this month. We'll look at it for next month.
Yes. And
did I attend the full board meeting?
This month, I don't think that's necessary.
Do you think when is our full board for November?
Full board for November, maybe, yes. Full board for November is November 16th.
Do you expect to have a BSA hearing before the November 16th?
Unlikely.
Then we'll probably do it the 16th.
Yeah, so likely 16th would be the next meeting.
Okay. And
we would have our housing meeting again where we would review and you know, up or down.
Oh, you don't vote tonight, you're saying you vote.
No, I think we're gonna draft for the next, if we have a little time, we're gonna draft, and then the next housing meeting we would vote.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just tune in to hear the vote, and if I'll be there if you have any questions.
Yeah.
I mean, generally, if you did have a deadline, you know, at the end of October, we would put it on the general board for this month. But since you don't have that, and we want to have this conversation, I think
it would behoove us all. Better likelihood of the upvote if we can get the kinks worked out.
Yeah, but you'll put Signy in contact with the owners of Prestige.
I will, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Neil, I'll give you my email in the chat, okay, by private, if that's good for you.
Sure.
Okay.
Also, for the record, those photos were taken yesterday.
Yesterday.
When I saw it was an agenda item, I was like, I know this is an ongoing thing. Let me just
thank you.
So I have your personal email. What? Just so I'm not missing any, are you expecting anything from me? Do you want to?
If you can start chatting with your clients and just let them know of the issues we brought, we could send you the pictures too and just.
No, I'm definitely going to do that. I just didn't know if you needed me to correspond with you.
Oh, just to connect us with the owners so we can, you know, they're ready.
You want to deal directly with the owner, you're saying?
Oh, well.
I mean, just about this, like about the parking, yeah. Because
Okay.
I think,
I mean, I personally, I would like to be the intermediary on this, but because typically I've never had a community board, but if there was the owner here, yes, obviously, you tell me.
I mean,
If you can get the answers from them and, you know, and
if they could come to a meeting or a meeting of UST, maybe, Uniform Services Transportation, I think just because it's an operational facet of the business rather than, you know, I think we're all okay with the use group waiver.
yeah.
I mean, it's a valuable business in the community, they provide good employment, they provide a good service, they're honest.
Yeah, we're not here to stop at their business. We just wanna make sure that we have, you know, their ear on the issues.
Right.
And what was the next committee you said?
The next committee meeting is.
Not your land use and housing. You mentioned another committee just now.
Oh, uniform services, which deals with street parking and, you know, street stuff.
Thursday, November 9th.
November 9th is the next one.
Right, they're the first Thursday in that.
Look at the website. MCB9. I can't find this one.
We have this right here. I've got it. They will be meeting November 2nd.
Oh, November 2nd is uniform services and transportation. That would be dealing with streets and things like that.
Okay.
But I mean,
be in touch.
We'll have to brief UST then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Okay, the exciting work of housing land use zoning. Everybody's still with us. I'm impressed. All right. I just want to note a couple of our public members that joined, Tanya and Jared. I see you guys, just recognizing. That's a wave hello. So public members are members of the community. Yeah. That step up to help us on special projects and are you know, officially here to be recorded into our voting and bring valuable intel and experience in particular areas that we do need assistance with. You know, there's Anita too. I see Anita. Because you know, we are 8 members on the committee. We have also that just joined us, Idli. Give a wave to the camera, Idli. If you want, say hello, what your name is, and we welcome, you know, you. So, Idli Takwan. You live on 151st, right? I'm on 152nd. And she's a brand new committee member. So, yes. And Juan, introduce yourself. You didn't get a chance earlier.
Juan Gomenares. I'm a high school teacher at Philip Randolph High School. Been here a long time in this neighborhood.
Excellent.
And this committee, 1 year. 1 year.
Yep, newbies. Did you officially introduce? You already did, right? Okay, but I think we caught up with all the introductions of our committee members. I see. Hello, Walter. Just saying hello to our community board member, Walter. Very good. Okay, so let me go back to the agenda real quick. Find it. Yes. So we are now at, budget. You ready, Barry? Let's talk about budget. So I will share on the screen that.
Does everybody have the packet that was next to the agenda?
We have in person some packets, and we're now going to share. So one of the most important jobs as the community board is to make requests of allocation of budget for the city. We have to review and take a look at the housing, land use, and zoning requests that we have made. There's capital, there's expense, 2 different areas, and we have a hearing on this at the October. Actually, it's coming up October 17th, right? quick this year. So we're going to have a public hearing. We're required as the community board to have a public hearing where the public can come and weigh in on budget requests. As committee members, we bring this up in our committee to discuss what we think the priorities are, what we need to add, edit. I have the last year's agency responses, Barry, that we can also take a look at. But let's take a look at your page first. Barry, as the first vice chair, does the strategic planning committee, which he has taken on the task of the budget process, right?
Yes.
Do you want to give us a brief introduction while I'm looking for this?
Sure. So what we are going to be doing this fall is giving the Office of Management and Budget and the agencies the inputs to the budget that will hopefully be adopted in June of 2024. And that budget will be in effect from July 2024 through June 2025.
This is why it's FY25. It sounds strange, but
yes, fiscal year 25 will run from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. And so the way this process works is the agencies in OMB take our input and feedback, then they draft the mayor's draft proposed budget. They get feedback from us. They then put forth the mayor's. So the draft comes out in January. We get feedback. They put forth their executive budget in about March, and then the city council holds hearings, and then they negotiate the final budget and vote on it sometime around June. So what we're doing though is everybody knows us because we have the ranked capital line items and expense items that we rank in priority. And those are the answers to the questions, what can we do to help our neighborhood with the city budget? But before we get to that, we need to answer these questions, which are what are the biggest issues in our neighborhood? So what are the problems we have? And then what ways can the city spend its money to fix those problems? So we have a number of questions we need to answer as a committee. Usually in our top 3 needs as a whole, we put affordable housing as one of the 3 because obviously. And so we need to then do about 1,000 words on what that looks like, what the need for affordable housing looks like in our district. We may have exceeded 1,000 words, but you'll see from the fiscal year 24 answer that we submitted last year, we go through the percentage of our households that are rent burdened. We go through the public housing, NYCHA issues. We go through the tenant interim lease buildings. We go through the Mitchell Llama properties that we've lost to
583
Oh,
for the first question.
And we go through code violation enforcement in rental buildings, in landlord rental buildings. And we state the problem about illegal Airbnb. But we cite as much data as we can. So for example, we cite the number of housing code violations that are open by category in our district. And you might wonder where those numbers come from. The very back section of this packet has the resources that the agencies provide where we can get this information. Or some of it anyway. So you'll see DOB provides, economic development provides, HPD provides, NYCHA, etc. But then there are the other questions are domain specific. So we'll go to the housing and economic development segment of the portal, and it'll ask us, what's your most important housing, economic development, land use priority? And last year, somehow we put the marine transfer station.
That's the most important.
Yeah. Maybe as a bone to further economic development, since affordable housing got the top 3 big.
Oh, maybe.
But then, So we need to answer what's the top three of housing, economic development, and land use based on the checklist that they give us. Affordable housing creation, affordable housing preservation, code enforcement, public housing, housing support services, land use and zoning. And then from that, we pick and we explain our answer as to why it's the most important. And then we go, and then there's a segment specifically just for land use. And it says, please give us the narrative of the land use needs in your community. And that's about 500 words. So it's about a paragraph. And then they do the need for housing, and we answer that. And that was long. So actually, we only have 3 questions.
Okay.
Which is better than youth education and land works. But then we answer these questions. We describe the state of these issues in our district. And then our budget priorities should be things that, if the city funded them, address those needs that we just spent all those words describing. So,
So as an example of that, for neighborhood preservation, that historic district and that connection to 142nd Street?
Yep, that would be one. Or like I think when we've had we've drawn from the capital needs assessment of Manhattanville houses and grant houses in prior years. And so for our capital budget, we've had, you know, like repair roof at Manhattanville houses.
On the screen is the last year's with agency responses. And we went through and highlighted the ones that refer to how, you know, anything under our bucket, in our bucket. So if you want to take a look, we can.
And so there's a tension here between like, what are our headline asks? And then what are our very specific asks?
Yeah. Our headline right now, oops. Affordable housing program requests.
Basically, we want affordable housing.
Yes. Supports the agency's position as follows. The request includes more than one proposal.
But this has been on there for years and years.
Yes. Would we be behooved to do anything different with it to get more action?
If we had something specific to put, we could.
Mm-hmm. Well, the specific that we have, isn't it that Till building on 140th or 141st?
The one 617 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's 141st.
141st, yeah.
I'm always scared of telling HPD to do something with a Till building because I know exactly what they want to do.
But that's a building that's standing.
Yes, but maybe 1727 Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Maybe Broadway Housing has something cooking that we could tell them to fund. Was there anything about Grant or Manhattanville? I think we took Grant off because they actually got funded.
Oh, we had, each of them had an increase in, you know, repairs, I think. If you want, we can just take a quick look at the highlighted ones.
Yeah.
Providing tax incentives. A couple for housing for seniors that look very similar. If you wanted to compare the two, they might be combined. So 53 is very similar to this. This goes into more detail, so I would say the other one we take off. I'll show you what 53 is real quick.
Oh, 53 is beyond the priority list. That's probably why it's.
It looks very similar to. Yeah. So we should probably just delete this one. This one's more specific.
What is happening with the space over on Hamilton Place? near the park, the church and the furniture store. Is there a developer?
Are you talking about RKO Theater?
No, you're talking about the old Gotham Theater, whatever it was.
Oh, right there, no, right
Yeah,
there.
the Iglesia Bautista
Yeah.
and the Muebleria.
Right.
Are they both closed?
The church, yes,
Oh, shit,
yes, they are.
that's not good fun.
HPD, increased funding for senior citizen. Tanya, you have a question as we're going through?
I did. This is probably more like structural and procedural in terms of what you submit. But when you were saying more specific, can you provide examples when you're saying affordable housing as the number one issue? Can you provide examples from the developments we're watching of places where we think there are opportunities to develop affordable housing? Like, can you include those? Is that too specific, and are there still too many unknowns around that, or can you offer up places where you see there are opportunities to do it in the neighborhood?
I suppose I would think, listing ones that are very viable, that already have interest and developers looking at it, like with ones that we like BHC. Probably going to be more traction from that than just like, hey, this empty lot needs affordable housing on it, right?
Yeah, no, I meant the ones that, over the last year, we've had people come and speak that people were in support of, that we could give examples that feel much farther along.
Yeah, I think, we said 1727 would be a great one to, hey, listen, this needs more affordable housing. If BHC has something cooking, so if you can think of any others that we could specify.
Sorry, what's BHC?
Broadway Housing Community.
Okay, thanks.
They're a supportive housing and affordable housing provider that happens to have exceptionally high quality operations.
Yeah. Good track record with us. Ilana.
Does anyone know what's going on with the Rite Aid site on 145th?
It's not heard anything currently.
So interestingly, it's owned by the church, that property in it. And I thought they were behind on their property taxes, but apparently they're not, which is
That's a perfect opportunity.
sort of worrisome, because where did they come up with 50 grand? Okay, anyway. That is zoned R8. And then the question was 145th.
The former Rite Aid.
Yeah. That is.
I know who it is. It's the guy who ran and
on 135th.
It's the Gristedes guy. Right?
It's Katzimatidis.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, what's his first name?
He ran for whatever, right?
John Katzimatidis is the guy who owns the Gristedes.
Yeah.
Supermarket chain. Very interesting character. Grew up on 135th between Broadway and Amsterdam. Right. Saw Lassie at the RKO Hamilton Theater.
Did he?
Yes, and I think and so owns a decent amount of property in the neighborhood. But he tends not to develop them.
He doesn't develop it, like it doesn't tend to get developed quickly, or he just rents it out like he did with Rite Aid.
Yeah.
Or makes it a Gristedes, I suppose. I know.
Just a year.
Yeah. Oh, Pamela, I see your hand.
Yeah, something else also interesting about him. His daughter, I think, is like part of the executive team for the Manhattan Republican Party. Just thought I'd throw it out there. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but.
Well, he ran for, Republican.
She's the chair. He's running for mayor. He's got a radio show. He's like I said, an interesting character, but is not the worst person to be the owner of a property that we're worried about.
Better than some. The one on the bottom here is about the Ellington Hotel. So, do we need to change anything on this, because we know it's?
Oh yeah, we should. We should. So if we scroll up here, to the very top of the document, like even above that.
Oh, yeah.
So they have agency contacts with
Yes.
phone numbers and emails.
Wow, look at that.
So we could contact, do they have DHS?
Yes.
Mr. Eric Paulino. We got a telephone number, we got an email, so we could ask him, you know, what is
It looks
the
like a
status?
mobile phone. If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
I'll blow him up, call him on his cell. I'm sure we're one of the few people who actually use these.
Yeah, right.
And ask what the status is of those repairs or that project.
Okay, so call agency and ask. Put that on there.
And this is the meat of stuff. Like, this is where instead of talking about things, we can make them happen. Which is always exciting, I think.
Okay. Moving along, this one we crossed out because Child's Memorial we've already, yeah.
It's been funded but stuck at the mayor's office of contract services.
Oh, really? Do we want to do anything with this then?
I think we're fine. I think they just need to approve the contract.
Yeah. Okay. This is for the TIL program, Barry. Just leave that on, right? So we'll just go through the first bit here, and this is capital budget priorities. You can see the agency responses. There's, you know, we'll try to accommodate. It's a common answer. Funding for parts is a common answer. HDFCs, Anita continues to be there. Do we want to talk about anything about debt forgiveness? That would be the other thing.
We could ask HP where that falls under.
Yeah. Okay. Renovate, upgrade NYCHA. So we have the playground at Grant. Did anything happen with that yet?
We
It says to bring to the attention of our elected officials.
We should ask. What is the name of the TA president? At Grant.
The team's daughter.
Yes. We'll ask the Grant TA president.
Lori.
Thank you.
Lori. B-I-I.
Oh yes, I Lori, like that, V, something like that, right?
V-I-I-L-O-R-I.
V-I-I?
Yes.
L-O.
That's why I was trying to give it to you. It's not a regular. R-I-I. Just write it as I say it. Don't think about it. Thank you very much.
She signed up for Team Up and Clean Up. I remember her name, but I remember it was spelled different. All right. We have security cameras for NYCHA on here. We have each of the NYCHA buildings have the same 29 funding for interior, exterior, and structural architectural renovations. Does this change with RAD Pact? Do we keep it on here?
That's a good question. I don't know what's happening with RAD Pact.
Okay. There is some sort of meeting coming up, which all right, so it goes on here. We need to, you know, decide what we want to do with the rest of these. On the 17th is our public hearing. Everyone is welcome to attend to discuss budget requests. One for Audubon, and then the getting out of capital, going to expense, that's the other one as well. Liz and I were discussing would expense requests, she had a strange out of the box idea about, and I know we're already dealing with this at the other Euler by the Amtrak, but talking about a study regarding opportunities for development, like around Amtrak and Cathay. So it's something this is the first page of expense budget priorities in agency requests. So I don't know if you probably don't have that.
I have it printed out.
You have it printed out. Good girl. All right, so page, I don't know what page this is, but it's the first page of expense budget requests. So go past capital. And page 21, now I see it. Yeah, out of the box, I know. Yes, Clayton, sorry.
On that, I think there are some like very long-term MTA plans of like a Metro North extension on that side with the potential station there. So I mean, that's, you know, it's the MTA, and it may not even happen maybe 80 years before it does, but like that may also be something to factor in there. So I think that would be like where a hypothetical station exists as their problem.
Other expense requests, provide expand enhanced community outreach on HPD programs. Funding for HART is recommended. Allocate additional funding for code enforcement personnel within existing resources. Fund additional staff positions for HPD. Always needing more help. Existing resources, which is what? Increase funding for community-based tenant protection groups. Funding for part recommended. Public house maintenance, staffing and management requests. So y'all can see what we're talking about with capital versus expense. So capital is, you know, buildings, physical, right? Repairs, upgrades, and expenses are staffing, equipment, other things like that. So that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about in expense. We often talk about the libraries, like equipment for libraries, things like that are included in expense. Housing stuff is mostly staffing and things like that to help enforce codes and do things with HPD. There's not as many housing in here just because housing tends to be capital. Staff again for garbage and refuse in NYCHA. And that's all I have for that. Are there any additions that anybody could see us putting in here?
I remember asking Barry, how do we have a database of rent control and rent stabilized apartments so that in some way we could fight greedy landlords who take apartments out of regulation. I mean, my building is a clear example of that. This guy has taken so many apartments out of rent stabilization. And people just get the new lease and they sign. And once you do that, it's over. And if people are not aware of what that is, it must be insane to live in this area, in one of these buildings with that trade going on. But getting back to it, is there a way to notify people when they sign a new lease or they move into a new apartment that their apartment is rent controlled or rent stabilized in some way, shape, or form? I mean, a lot of people also don't use our community board services. Like I've told so many people about the lawyer that we have access to, and unless they're in dire situations, they don't want to fight back their landlords and whatnot. But that is something that I would like to ask you guys about. Is there a way to educate people or notify people rather? Like a red flag type of thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can, I don't know about like having a list, like finding, maybe there is a way to, but you can tell them to ask for the rent history. And then that way you can see what the rent was before, like that actually happened to me like years ago, so. To request that from the city, I believe, I don't remember, do you know what agency?
So the state took over
It's the state.
rent regulation administration in like the 80s, I think.
Oh.
And so it's the State Department of Housing and Community Renewal, DHCR, and you can do it online. And there's a great tool called justfix.nyc that can walk you through that process. But you have to be the person living in the apartment because it gets mailed to your apartment. But there is a way to mail people.
Like a postcard or something? Can we talk
There's a
about
way
that through the mail?
There's a way to mail people who've just moved in using US Post, like it's a service the post office offers. Like Bed Bath and Beyond used it for their coupons all the time. But you could cross-reference that list with a list of rent-stabilized buildings.
I see our chair has his hand raised. Victor?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
I was in transit. A quick question, you might have covered this before, but I want to ask just in case it wasn't. Being that Manhattanville Houses is under the PAC RAD program, is there anything we should pull back from trying to fund for them? Has that been discussed?
I did mention that a little bit ago because there was a couple things for Manhattanville in particular about renovation, upgrades, and we talked about should we remove that.
Okay, because they appear to be moving along quite swiftly with that program. I'm hoping to meet actually with the TA president this coming week to discuss some feedback from residents on that program. So I'll keep you up to date with it.
And I have it flagged. So our public hearing is on October 17th. It's here at the office, correct? What's the time, guys? 6:30? So here in the office, 3291.
95.
95? Okay.
We're 95.
We're 95 here.
Staff office is 95.
Okay, this is 95. So 3295, public hearing, October 17th, 6:30 p.m. And we'll be the week, but. So Barry, what are our call to actions as far as the budget goes at this point? So we need to assign folks to help us. Let me put that up on the screen again. So we need help updating these answers, right? We've got the 2024 answers. What are the things people would have to update? Maybe some data, facts and figures.
And is this still the correct answer?
Yeah.
I mean, if we go through the questions, I mean, affordable housing, I think, is still the correct answer.
There's something about NYCHA and, you know, certain things, maybe there's a few things that don't make sense anymore, I don't know.
But like, so I guess, is the land use answer for Morningside Heights still the best land use answer? Probably, actually. But the housing answer, we've got things to ask Department of Finance to audit any property that gets a tax break. That means they have to keep units rent regulated. We've got code enforcement listed. We've got the number of open work orders at each of the NYCHA developments.
So this is data update.
Yeah, but
so
should we change like the big answer to any of these things?
Right. Let's see, the 17th is Tuesday. A week from today. I'm just thinking I can try and get Liz and I together to look at some of this. Someone can help with some data. Big numbers. Nobody's looking this way.
I'm looking, but my face has my answer. You know, I'm on overload right now.
We're all on overload right now. That's why we're trying to split things up a bit. So one thing that needs to happen is looking at the numbers, the data, and just trying to go online and find new numbers. So code violations in CB9 are over 27,458. That was last year.
That's actually an easy one.
That's an easy one.
I can probably do this. I
Oh my
can.
God, Clayton, you take on so much.
I want to get to know these data sets, so it'll help.
He lives off data.
The open data for housing violations is very friendly.
Yeah. So when it just comes to data and numbers, the best I can do is say I'll try and get with Liz and we'll see if we can update some of the narrative. If we see anything glaring, we'll take it out. Basha?
Hey, I'm sorry, I'm not volunteering, but I do have a question. In terms of the expense items, I was wondering if there was any item that addresses like education about local law 97 compliance.
Oh.
Okay.
Maybe something with the New York City Accelerator. I don't know if they do any outreach or anybody else. I think Accelerator maybe, but maybe somebody else knows. Because that's going to be a big issue as we move forward in time.
So the HDFC Resource Center did a big event with the Accelerator and some other experts about Local 197, which, if you don't know, is the local law in New York City that requires buildings meet certain carbon emission limits first by 2025 and then by 2030, I want to say. Like there are two phases, but the documentation of compliance and the energy efficiency stuff is going to be a big challenge for everybody, but maybe especially for HDFCs and other co-ops and
So
condos.
asking for education on that for homeowners, co-ops, which are homeowners, but you know.
Because the accelerator that Basha mentioned exists to help some of these buildings. Okay. The expense.
Yeah. Just adding okay. Best I can do is say we copied the answer from last year and we'll take a one through, me and Liz, but we're all overwhelmed, I know.
No one wants to write an essay, a little mini essay on housing needs? We even give you like a cheat sheet from the year before.
I see the look of
You're
fear.
gonna give something to write about? Because I can go off on what my experiences have been, but if you give me a narrative,
So for housing, for example,
what is affordable housing, first of all? How do you establish that premise? Because all those projects on 140, 150, they're beautiful buildings, but they're not gonna be cheap. On the corner of 150th in Convent, you seen that? It looks like a triangle.
are they affordable?
No.
That's what I'm saying. I
Those
don't
are all
think
market.
they're, yeah, right?
It's the one that the church, Haggers Church sold property.
There used to be a stable and then it became a parking lot.
Oh, you're talking about the
Now-
stable.
No, but then across the street on Convent, that thing is also up. And then behind that, there is another complex being, and that convent is already, where the nuns used to live, that's also up in.
That is gonna be a supportive housing. That's where, the nonprofit that was in the building that Emma Bowen, no. Heritage Health is now going to, what's the, is no, it's Heritage Health that is moving to their building and expanding.
Harry Simmons, yeah.
The nonprofit that they've been renting to in there, I believe, is moving to 150, I think, Convent, where the convent used to be, the nuns used to live. That's going to be supportive housing for them now.
Which convent of nuns?
Whatever, it was a retirement place for nuns until a couple years back when they sold it.
It's like a low rise.
Yeah, and they're refurbishing it right now. And that is going to be, can't remember the nonprofit that Heritage Health was renting to, but they're leaving, so Heritage Health can come in, and that group is going to 150th Convent.
There is still an active convent on Convent.
Somewhere?
In the 120s.
In the 120, oh, okay, I believe you. Yeah, we have the retired nuns up there who sadly died out. But they were very sweet. I enjoyed their company. Okay. Vash, I see your question also about the old furniture store at Montefiore Park. Oh, we had some sort of communication on that. The furniture store at Montefiore Park.
With whom?
Yeah, it's been shuttered for a very long time.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, they're shuttered, but the doctor's office is staying. So the doctor's office or someone reached out and someone was asking about that.
I mean, Basha, the only thing I know, because I don't remember that, the only thing I know is that the building is owned by the church, and they were in property tax arrears during the pandemic, which they appear to have cleared, and their balance is now zero. I don't know if the furniture store owed them money and they liquidated it, but it's owned by the church, and I'm trying to get in. And presumably they'll rent it to someone, or they'll try to sell it to a developer who will build a tower there because there is no height cap and it's R8 vanilla. So you could conceivably build a 20-story building there.
Thank you.
Not to bury the lead, but I'm sure the school would sell air rights.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, we gotta move on, guys. So, open lotteries, this is just a quick thing. I know people are not happy with tasks, but is anybody willing to look at open lotteries from meeting to meeting? It's a very easy thing.
HPD lotteries.
HPD lotteries, so I'm gonna share my screen. There's one that's closing tomorrow in the back.
Oh,
so Clayton, thank you for doing some research on the various developments we're watching. I wanna share really quickly with you guys. There's one closing tomorrow, we just wanna make you aware. If you ever wanna see what lotteries are open, this is the Housing Connect. Yes.
Can we talk to them about fixing our neighborhood description?
Thank you. Yes, I had to search for Inwood and Washington Heights to find us. We asked them that previously. Yes, we have asked them that, but we need someone who can change it. So 521 West 134th is in our district. It has a lottery closing tomorrow.
That's a Till building, or oh no, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. If you would like to apply, check it out. If you're already in the lottery, there's one in our neighborhood. So if you apply, you will, be able to be in the running for anything. So, it's not just our district. You can apply for other things, but we want to keep you here if we can. This building right here.
They rejected me 3 times.
They rejected you 3 times.
Interesting. Too much ago. I appealed.
Yeah.
Some city member.
Really? Interesting.
How much money do you need to make to be in these lotteries?
It has
Yeah,
been,
it says right there,
107,000
something.
Well, what?
This
Yeah,
is
scroll.
the AMI.
Hold on, $3,753 a
Yeah.
month for a 2-bedroom is
It's
affordable?
130% AMI.
The income, I mean, requirements are really high.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
This is not affordable, not at all. And you applied, and they said no because you made too little?
And it said over access.
Yeah.
It said over access. When I researched for that was my over access was 28,600 and change. Theirs were 28,400 and change. I had $200 more than I.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
Who makes 108K here? I'm just wondering. Wow. Yeah, 130% AMI. That's even higher than.
I think we talked about this a lot. Who decides what they claim is affordable housing?
The AMI, that's what, the feds said that, or the city?
The feds set the area median income. The city, and then there are certain federal funds that go to HPD that are tied to that.
Mm-hmm.
The city defines its affordability bands based on AMI.
Right. That makes sense.
I think our neighborhood is like 40, our actual AMI in our neighborhood is 40% of the city AMI or 45.
Mm-hmm. Actual affordable would be, 30 to 50% AMI for our neighborhood.
Like, that would actually be median.
That would be
for the neighborhood.
For that neighborhood.
So how do they, per project, how do they determine, like, when they choose like the AMI for each development? Like, is it what the developers can match, or like, how does that, like, how do they decide on such a, I'm curious because like.
If I had to guess, because this was the community garden on 134th that we're trying to replace with a piece of land from the Columbia site that we just talked about. This is another instance where Tish James' office screwed us because it was owned by a nonprofit. But it was sold to a private developer who must have gotten some sort of subsidized financing that they then opted to pick the 130% workforce AMI options.
Right, yeah.
Developers have certain options for certain, like there are different types of subsidized financing, and then those types may have certain options within them.
Of course, they're gonna always pick the option that allows them to make the most money.
Yeah, of course.
So it would have been under MIH, but they would have had like the MIH option that would be 130%.
None of it under MIH because it did not require a zoning variance. So MIH is mandatory inclusionary housing, which is only applied when there is an increase in the total allowed buildable square footage that exceeds like 25 or 30% of what was there prior.
This is a good moment to explain for anyone who doesn't know. We use a lot of acronyms: MIH, NYCHA, AMI, that's Area Median Income. If you're interested to learn more, a definition sheet, we have one on our website. We made an FAQ sheet, which is frequently asked questions. We love to shorten everything. But on our website, CB9 website, which is cb9m.org, you can find under our housing area an FAQ worksheet, which will define some of these things we're talking about. If a developer is asking for some sort of variance in the land use that is getting some sort of subsidizing from the city for financing and things, they do have to come. It goes through a ULURP process if it is under a situation where it needs review by us. So the community board gets involved when it's under ULURP. This particular one was not needed to go under ULURP. If they're asking for certain variances, yes, it must go under ULURP, which is the Uniform Land Use Review Process. So
with
welcome to the world.
So in this
of
case,
HLS.
would the affordability constraints have been because it was previously nonprofit owned, or like where does the 130 band come from in this case? I can also select this on myself.
The understanding here is that the developer, when they ask for variance, can ask for certain types of variances.
I'm curious to know, like, what are the guidelines on that? And, you know, have there been challenges, like, to that? You know what I mean? Like, to actually create more actual affordable housing.
It could be mix and match, but that's usually 100% affordable. Because there are different, so HP has standardized financing offerings.
All right, so we do need to move on, guys. We just want to make you aware that the mayor put out more details on the City of Yes program a day ago, 2 days ago. There is an article, I'll put it in the chat. They're pushing hard, and I'll say that the mayor sounds like they are trying to get people behind 1727. Barry, you saw my text.
About, yes.
Yeah.
Although.
So I think they're pushing the affordable housing and they're including supportive housing in that. So I feel like there's a push. Link to this article that talks about the details on the zoning text amendment, which has to go through the community boards in a process. So the City of Yes, Mayor Adams is calling this to increase affordable housing, and their plan for that, it's going to require certain zoning text amendments. Those always have to go through community review process. And so that has already gone through on, what was the first one that we did? Zoning for carbon neutrality. There'll be zoning for economic development and a third one, I can't think of right now, but those will be presented to us next, probably.
Is it? Housing opportunity.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That will be presented to us in the November meeting. It was all pushed a little bit.
I thought economic development's November, because I think they announced the housing opportunity stuff, but I don't think we have anything to do with it until the spring.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Carbon neutrality we've done.
The scoping.
Economic development is next. Correct. Yep.
What was the economic development more about? I don't even remember.
But well, they're going to present again.
The housing opportunity one, the scoping for that, the hearing is October 26th, which means what should be taken into account with the EIS, the environmental impact study.
Yeah. So I just put the article in the chat. You can read a little bit more. Okay, so that is new business. Old business, legislation we're watching. Is there anything new we need to be aware of that anyone knows about on the legislation side for housing, land use zoning? Anything anybody's seen? You're our eyes and ears. Anita?
It's UN. Hi.
Oh, you're on Anita's?
No.
Oh, sorry, no. Okay, yes, UN, hi.
Yeah, hi. I noticed that 142nd is not on here. If it's demolished, wouldn't it become a land use item because they'll be looking for variance?
Yeah, I mean, that's under developments we're watching, old business, right?
Okay.
But I mean, now we would bring that up during that moment. But yeah, I mean, yes, the unfortunate news is that 142nd Street looks like it's already in process of being demolished. Under our best efforts to get people to help us get it on landmarks, Parks Commission, radar, And Yuen, I know you got the call and they just sent us the email today, Sean Abreu's office too, saying it was not on their list.
Which one was it?
142nd Street, it's a row of old townhouses, row houses.
But they were well, you know, it's going to be demolished, but if if the demolition permit had not, even if the demolition permit had been issued, we could have argued it in to the historic district. I don't know why LPC has made it official to Abreu's office or to the community board, because we're supposed to be meeting on the 16th for them to show to present their proposed boundaries, which is not carved in stone. I mean, we had the same situation in the Durant's Brooks with Calvary Church and three adjoining row houses that they cut out of the proposed Durant's Brooks historic district, and we argued for it to be included, and we won on that. And it would have been the same situation here on 142nd Street. The only difference is that the developer has started, is about to start demolition. But if the demolition permit was still sitting, we could have argued to have that within the district. So I'm really annoyed that, there were people outside the building, but if they were to calendar it today with those buildings within the boundaries of the historic district, we could have had some influence. So, and we haven't had that meeting yet. So I don't know why she's taking this, or anybody's taking this as a
good to know.
Yeah. I mean, not to be flippant, but if people felt like running the risk of getting arrested, we could, like occupy it. And
well, yeah, we should send someone down.
Options are like
Barry, we should send some people down to Midtown to let the migrants know that there's 4 empty houses.
I'll take one.
On 142nd.
Italy's ready to go sit in the apartments.
Well, yeah, I mean, they did this in Oakland. This is how they stopped the gym in Morningside Park. I mean, there's always like a range of options available to us. It's just what do we have the appetite to take?
Right.
The answer to the question earlier about that building on 134th Street, it has a 421A tax exemption.
Oh, thank you, Barry.
Can you send me a copy of that letter that was received from LPC? Because I don't have a copy of it. And let me just see. When you get a chance. I mean, because the way you just said it, it's, I did not accept that when she called me.
Oh, I just heard that. I didn't get any letter from them officially. I just saw the email from LPC and an email from Sean Abreu saying, "Oh, it sounds like it's not
okay
on their radar." But
because if I
could be mishearing. I could be mishearing you, and I'm not saying anything of an official letter coming to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if those buildings are still there on the 16th, we should certainly push for them to include it.
At 100%, UN. But I heard the hearsay, I guess. So,
okay. So I'm confused. My question would be then, is there physical demolition occurring right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
There are people outside starting it.
There's hard hats going in and out.
Yeah, but they might just be evaluating the properties and their approach. Not one brick has been knocked down yet.
I have a hard hat.
Barry has a hard hat.
Courtesy of the tasty opening ceremony. Yeah, we could all go in.
Barry, why don't you put the hat on and say, hold it, hold it. The city has just put a pause on it.
No, if we really wanted to be busy breaking laws of civil disobedience, the best thing to do would be to print out fake stop work orders and put it on the building. I mean, they fake permits all the time. I mean, I'm not.
But, you know,
I'll do it.
my question is,
That can be done to hold it until the 16th of October?
I think that is the, yes, that is the unofficial proposal. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
I mean, other than, as Barry said, being revolutionary and taking over the building, does that mean there's nothing for our city council person? Is there a way for him if he puts his feet in the water?
I got an email from them today that was like, so sorry.
No, there are probably more levers and unorthodox levers that could be pulled if one wanted to exert the effort and find the creativity as a council member.
Okay.
I agree. And we don't know if they've satisfied all the requirements for demolition.
Okay.
You know, they haven't, because I went online and apparently there's certain documents and stuff, you know, and environmental stuff that they have to do, you know, to make sure there's no asbestos and all that. Have you guys seen it? Have that been presented? Maybe the community board should send them a letter and say, hey, we heard that you're on the verge of doing demolition, but you know, where are all these documents and why haven't you come, you know, to present your plans? What we don't want is to have a vacant lot without a building, you know, until they get all their finances and plan, you know, sitting there for years.
Well, what we don't want that. We don't want to lose the existing buildings, and we also definitely don't want them to come back and attempt another rezoning.
Yeah.
Or a zoning variance. Like, we went through this with them in 2021. Because the minute that was rezoned in I keep forgetting the year 12 or whatever, they started buying the properties. And so, you know, the other thing, it sounds like you're volunteering to take this on. The other thing to look at
it's about 3,000 hours of my life. So, and that's on the low side.
But the other thing to consider is that those buildings contained rent-regulated housing units. And there are, I believe, additional legal restrictions around demolishing buildings that have rent-regulated units.
So has anyone spoken to Sean Abreu to see if he understands the level of our urgency?
Yes.
Does he get it?
I can read the email we got from them today.
Well, you know, he was a tenant's attorney.
That we asked them to reach out. They reached out to LPC and they sent you got this email today, right? From
No,
Gabrielle?
I'm looking at it. No, I did not get it. I wrote him a letter and sent him the pictures I wrote him and Mark this morning after John Reddick sent me the photos of the hard hats outside the building. And I said, you've got to, you know, halt this.
You're CC'd on this note from Gabriella from Sean's office from
Maybe I'm looking in the wrong email. Hold on.
Yeah, 2:46 this afternoon. Take a look at what she said.
Which email did it go to?
You went to your Harlem One Stop.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. But we don't want them to call, we want them to call LPC, but we really wanted them to call DOB. You know?
Power does lie with DOB, but I mean, Signy, if you have time to speak to them on the phone, I think the real thing that we have to land is the resolution we passed last month, which is that this cannot be demolished now and then come back for the zoning variance later story. I mean, if these are existing rent regulated units, it makes no frigging sense.
And we've been pushing that angle. Tiffany started that, you know, she brought up, and I think you at our meeting, Barry, the affordable housing that is more than what the plan that was initially shown by the developer was offering. So, you know.
Well, they expected us to celebrate whatever they were offering when it was less than what was already existing.
Right, exactly. And Sean needs to know that. I put that in the in my email this morning, but maybe it would resonate much more if it came from a CB9 and to Mark also. But Mark should know this. You know, I'm just sick of it.
A landlord who wishes to demolish a building must get permission from New York State Homes and Community Renewal.
Yeah.
So converting or demolishing a rent regulated building.
He also needs to get permission regarding the party wall from the owner. That's what, you know, I went online and was desperately trying to pull up things. And, you know, does he have that from the owner of the row house to the going east? You know, you cannot demolish unless a party wall agreement has been reached. That's one of the things that is required from the developer.
Like, why do we know that and the tenant lawyer doesn't? He doesn't want to.
And he has to do the environmental thing. You know, I mean, we don't know. So someone needs to call them out, and Sean's office should be doing that. The borough president's office should be doing that if they really want to support the community's position.
It sounds like you're going to be in charge then of coordinating this.
You mean to bring squatters in?
Well, but to, you know, like, have they filled out the appropriate DHCR form? If not, will DOB put in a stop work order? Have they
If someone will guide me, I will do it. I don't know where those forms are, you know? I just found what I said online this morning because I was, you know, I was desperately trying to find arguments or stalling tactics. You know, find things that could be used as a stalling tactics while
we work to get a calendar
LPC, yeah, you know, get their whatever, you know, in order, expletive in order.
So if you contact the OB, is there like a hotline or someone you can just kind of like tell them, okay, we don't know if all requirements have been met for demolition? Is there like, can they send someone out right away? Like, what is the process there that, you know, she does call them? Would that be feasible, or is it a lot more?
I mean, here are the levers you could pull, right? Some of it is paperwork. They lack this DHCR form. They lack the requisite environmental paperwork that Ewan was mentioning. Owners, adjacent wall, permission. Then there's also malicious, like, compliance enforcement, like take pictures of them on the work site. Do the people who have harnesses have harnesses? Are they doing something they're not supposed to? Are they illegally dumping stuff? I mean, like, you know, anything to get a stop work order in place.
By the way, let me clarify. I did not search their files. I was online just doing general research. I'm sorry if it sounded like I was actually looking at their paperwork. I didn't have time to do that before I wrote the email to Sean's office. I was just online, doing general search in New York City DOB, what does a contractor need, for demolition and what's required, that sort of thing.
Ewan, actually, we had a really wonderful DOB rep for the board, Ophelia, who got promoted.
Who does? Levine or Sean?
The community board.
Oh, the community board. Oh, then there you go. I will help, whoever it is, that's the expert. But I'm not,
I mean,
I'm a fighter.
No one here works for the DOB or is a building inspector or anything, but we're all just Googlers. But but I think if you compile a list of the concerns, then we can have Youtha raise it with the Department of Buildings contact.
Mm-hmm.
And it would help if Sean Abreu's office were bought into this plan and could lend some muscle.
Right.
Although that is Al Taylor's office, maybe he'd be willing to. But there are lobbyists.
Rep still here from Al Taylor's office?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Zoya.
Hello, hello. It's been a little fuzzy, but I'm mostly following what you guys are saying. But if you guys would like to follow up on this matter, I'm gonna leave my contact information below. And I'd be more than happy to touch base with some folks. And we can discuss this further outside of the meeting as well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a better idea not to be discussing some of this on a recording.
Yes.
But so are they complying with the rules of work, even though if they've gotten the permit, did they get the permit correctly? Did they file all the forms they needed? Did they do all the tests they needed? Because the goal of the delay is not just to delay, but it's to delay it until the Landmarks Conservation Commission makes it so that it's protected, even temporarily, by calendaring.
And Anita, I see your hand, and Jared, your hand. Anita, did you have something on this matter?
No, I was going to talk about something else, but
okay, Jared?
It's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anita, is it for something we could do in a minute while we're still on this topic?
Oh, I was raising my hand before this topic came up, and so it's about something different.
Okay, let us finish this out real quick. Jared?
Yeah, so, I do work for LPC, and we came up with this, the action plan to strengthen protections for vulnerable historic buildings. I'm just looking at it on our website. So there is this, some sort of plan in place. There was a building, it was supposed to be an individual landmark in Brooklyn somewhere, and it got torn down because of screw up somewhere. So, the agency and DOB are somehow supposed to be now, before any demolition happens, supposed to be talking. So there is this plan in place. I haven't, I work there, but I don't know really about it. So I'll read about it to see if there's anything that's helpful there.
Jared, can you put your number in the chat and I'll follow up with you? Sure. Because once I read this note from LPC, I'm going to write a note I'm going to respond to that email, pretty much saying, how dare you, not in those words, but that with the tone of it, that the boundaries have not been argued, the boundaries have not been accepted, and why is it the state, I have an email because I wrote to the state thinks their position is that those buildings have significant, architectural details and cultural importance to be included in the district. You know, I still don't know if it's just those buildings or the entire block that they're excluding, but that's not the way that's not the process. The process is they do their research in response to the request for evaluation, you know, community, you know, representatives come in and the community board, and they present that research and present their proposed boundaries. And that's when we have the opportunity for input. How could they be approaching this like it's a done deal? And their mandate is to protect historic buildings, not be, you know, complicit with a developer's wish.
Agreed.
Well said, Ewan.
Thank you. Listen, guys, in the interest of time, we need to move on, and I need to move on. So other developments we're watching. Listen, I think I'm going to go to the next topic because what we would like to do is put one-sheeters together on each of these big projects we're working on, so that we can understand where we've come from, where we are now. So we don't have to repeat ourselves every time someone wants to know about a project. I'm going to reach out to people and see if anybody that has had heavy, you know, hand in any of our major projects could help with some narrative on it. That's something that's a project I'd like to get done, you know, by beginning of next year if we can. As far as NYCHA, Edley, were you able to go to this We Act working group?
I went to the building and it was Zoom, so I had to retract back home.
Oh, it was just on Zoom?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I caught the tail of it, but they were just discussing repairs, recent repairs that were that NYCHA were dedicated to do. Just that, nothing concrete, nothing, just a list of repairs that were expected, that were done.
Feel free to, you know, join on Zoom if you can in the future, to just listen in and let us update us on anything we need to understand and know. I know Victor was hoping one of us could do that, so I appreciate you stepping up. Much appreciated. I understand there's also a hearing on October 24th. Let me grab the information real quick. I think it's at the bottom of here. So there's a City Hall committee room. It's virtual live stream as well. Register to submit testimony. This is an opportunity for NYCHA residents to hear what NYCHA has to say about your future. It's about the RAD Pact, I believe. City's council goal of this hearing is to get answers to the questions many of you have surrounding RAD Pact. So if anybody wants to testify, the information, I can put it in the chat. And see,
it's on Zoom only, or there's a physical location?
I think there's a physical location now, but I'm going to put this link. I hope this link works. To everyone in meeting. See if I can get this. It's gonna let me copy the link. Click on it. See if I can copy this link. Come on. Well, here it is. All right, there's the link. Shape the future of NYCHA. Draft a quick testimony. They've given a full instructions here. So that looks like it came out of that meeting easily, so.
You were supposed to email me the minutes, which you.
Okay. Back to the agenda. All right, Barry, anything on Morningside Heights? I don't think any updates, but
no, I think it's still undergoing its EAS. City planning has concerns about non-conforming buildings, and it wants to make sure that the rezoning reduces the number of non-conforming buildings that are in existence. We're fighting about the rationale. This is an excellent fucking example of why they're wrong and we are right.
Right. So in case you wanted to know what some of the one-sheeters top projects and things we want to get one-sheeters on, 1727 Amsterdam is one, obviously. The hotels on 145th Street actually are probably one we need to start paying attention to. Child's Memorial needs like a one-sheeter explaining where that came from. 153rd Street, how to avoid those kind of buildings in the future, options, ideas, and how that got to be, why they were able to do that. 142nd Street, land, preservation, Morningside rezoning, and RKO Theater. Those are the ones that I have on my list as top priorities. If anyone feels that they have a grasp on where we came from with those and can help start drafting, and thinking about how you would narrate that story of where we have come with some of those. Just if anyone wants to take a stab at a beginning narrative to that.
I would, but I have to wait till like next month.
Listen, I'm not saying this has to happen.
But I can do it in November.
We're saying like, beginning of next year, if we can have a rough idea. I'm not looking for anything right away.
Okay. Put me down for RKO.
For RKO, okay. And if people want to do it in groups, that's fine too. If people have been in the task force since the beginning and some of those meetings that we had at the beginning, when April and I had those original meetings about the vision for RKO. Yeah, all of that kind of stuff. So you'd be the perfect person, maybe even Anita or someone, I don't know.
So this steps will be due for next year?
Yeah, I'm not looking for right away. We would just start a narrative and.
Are you gonna send a listing email, whatever it is that, the listing that you just.
Yeah, I can do that. So it's the idea right now is these 7 to, just start, and I'm putting them in the chat for people right now, in case anybody thinks that they have a narrative that they can put together to start. Yeah. RKO Hamilton Theater, we got an update last time. Is there anything else?
So because I'm on the task force for the Arts and Culture Committee, so basically, like Walter had emailed Dan, and so his response was like, I think Dan's having some issues with communications with the owner.
Yeah.
So like inconsistent communications, and then I think they're waiting for the WHDC expression of interest to purchase the theater, and so he said he would try again on Tuesday and let us know if there's any progress.
Yeah, so he gave us a pretty good update last month.
Yeah, so nothing really, but that's the deal, yeah.
Okay. Oh, Vince Morgan reached out to me asking about HGFC. I have to get back to him. He reached out when I was on vacation, so I haven't had a chance to get back to him. But we talked about some of our ideas of priorities last month, I think, so I'll take those back to him.
Those were our minutes, right?
Those are in our minutes. I could send that to him too. And maybe we can get him here soon. Film and TV task force, I know we're just trying to find something.
I did announce it at Arts and Culture, but nobody said anything. So I don't know about. It's just that right now, I can't.
We're all in the same boat. The action item, no action items except that we're thinking we got a draft thing for Neil. And it's the auto body.
I want to email. I'm going to make my own action item.
Okay.
I'm going to email. There's a City of Yes housing email.
Okay.
I'm going to send them on R4 Rezo. Because I think they should eliminate R1 through R3 zoning while they're at it. Understood that Queens and Brooklyn build some housing every now and then.
Right.
Staten Island.
I don't have any action items then.
Alrighty,
So in that case, the last item, Annette, would you like to do the honors?
Sydney, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, sorry, Anita, go ahead, your hand's been up, yes. Sorry, go ahead.
No, just I'll try to make it as fast as possible. Because HDFC updates. If I would love to talk to Vince. I don't know if you ever will, Signy, because UHAB has, I think, our building needs things like being released from the 60/40, which is also supported by UHAB, and apparently they got their contract back with HPD. Probably everyone knows that. And Bruce says that they have submitted legislation to release HDFCs from 60/40, and Brewer says that she supports it 100%. Right now, that's on a low priority hold. In a Brew's office, I guess their legislative, whatever, queue. And then they did also put in legislation to take HDFCs out of AEP. So I'm just trying to, say things that I think might be helpful for more buildings. And so that would be very important. And that is actually active on hold. I'm not sure what that means. But maybe somebody knows what that means. Also, the fact that we have been talking with HPD about our building, and they said that they did, I thought the big deal coming out of the meeting, I think, who called me? Andres called me after last week's meeting, and we discussed it for a while, a couple days later, about what that means, that you can, HPD is saying that HDFCs can now negotiate their RA, their regulatory agreements. They claim, everyone from HPD who was in the room said that, and I've never heard that coming from HPD, instead of just being a suggestion from shareholders and community members. So I thought that was radical, and we might need your help soon, because we are asking for the regulatory agreement. For my building, we are asking for the regulatory agreement that accompanied our 2018 Article 11 that we finished, and the resolution was approved or whatever at City Council, and it was just never enacted. I don't know if you remember this, Barry.
Yep, it was never executed by HPD.
Right, and so Brew and Levine miraculously signed on together to ask HPD for this to be done, and we, I being having worked on this for so many years, am pessimistic, so we might need community support, or ask for a letter of support at some point, if you don't mind, because if our building does get this, I think it would, mean a lot to other HDFCs in our district and beyond.
Okay.
That's good news.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Nita.
All
right.
Oh, Barry, can I call you about the RA? In City Council, or not yet?
Let me find a good which day this week I would have time. It's a little busy for me at work, but I will text you.
All right, he'll text you.
Right.
Awesome.
All right.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, seconded. Adjourning at 8:45. Thank you, everyone, for
Signy,
yeah,
just a comment. I'm reading the email. That's not from LPC. It's from Sean Abreu's office, from Gabriella. So they're taking the attitude that, well, it's not landmark, there's nothing we can do.
Yes, that's the email I'm talking about, you're right.
Yeah, and they're taking the position that we can't tell a property owner what to do with his property, which just makes me more angry, you know?
Yep, I know,
Yeah, I thought it was from
surprised.
LPC. Yeah,
No,
okay.
no, it was, she had talked to LPC,
Right, exactly. They're not even willing to lift a finger.
Yeah, hold on one second.
All right.
Yeah, I'm seeing that, I know.